work, and that's something that we can offer that's just difficult for people to reject if they'll listen to us. But realistically, a lot of them won't listen to us, will they? There's one thing that always works. It's food. Have you ever wondered why it is churches are so good at food? Because I guarantee you, if we said we're going to have a great big dinner on Sunday and you don't have to prepare, you just come and worship with us and stay and eat, we'd have people that would come to stay and eat. Now, they'll suffer through the worship service to get the food. Well, the same thing is true. Invite them to your home. Why don't you come over to the house? We're going to have a really good supper. Then we'll have a short Bible study, and then we'll play ping pong or whatever it is you want to play for the evening. Okay, have them in your home. It was no problem for them. They didn't have to clean up the house. They didn't have to straighten anything up. They didn't have to prepare. All they had to do, come eat. Now, the Bible study is something there. I can suffer through that to get to have some fun. We play table games or whatever. But that Bible study becomes so important to you, it just might open the door. So we've got to make being with you the end thing to do, where they really enjoy it. If we run around and talk to a whole lot of Christians that are converted to Christ and say, how many of you were Christian when you got married? There'll be a lot of them would say, no, I wasn't a Christian when I got married. Well, why are you a Christian now? And who do they blame it on? They blame it on their spouse. They were spiritual. They were being a better spouse to me than I was to them, and they were crediting God with it. And I wasn't going to let them be a better spouse than me, and so I studied, and first thing you know, I got into it, and I was converted. So, make an offer is hard to turn down. And then let's skip over a couple of chapters to another occasion, and this is going to be from Matthew chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12. And we're going to start in verse number 24. Now, when the Pharisees heard it, they said, this fellow does not cast out demons except by Beelzebub, the ruler of the demons. But Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand. If Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then will his kingdom stand? Good question. What is it that keeps a lot of people who are rejecting righteousness of any sort, what keeps them in that mood to continue rejecting? It is the fellowship they have in unrighteousness. They kind of like being together. I know many times as I watch young folks, there will be one person in that group that just has to be kind of like the little instigator, and he's the brave one, or she's the brave one that will get something started. And once they start it, all the others that are in that little group will do what they do because they like being in the group. Then somewhere along the line, mama and daddy, who have a good influence on their child, says, you are not going to be their friend. I want you to change. We're going to change friendships. And all of a sudden, they're working with the teachers. Don't let them sit together. Change their schedule. They won't let them come home or go home, whichever way the case may be. And it's not long with the child with a new set of friends does what? Mold themselves to the new friends. And now they're an excellent student, not causing any problems. Brothers and sisters, the same thing is true with us. Where there are people who are, as long as they're clumped together, they are unrighteous. We have to find ways to get them away from their peers, get them away from the others, so you can talk to them one-on-one. There are some really nice, sweet people in this world, but who are acting like they act because of the people around them. Get them away from them and let them see that I can be good, you're really a good person, and I want you to go somewhere with me and do something with me. It just might be the turning point for them. So just like a house divided against itself is not going to stand, unrighteousness divided against itself is not going to continue in unrighteousness. In Matthew chapter 13, starting in verse number 24, another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven It's like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. And when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? Then jump over, please, to verse number 38 and 39. The field is the world. The good seed are the sons of the kingdom, but the tares are the sons of the wicked one. The enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. You know, when we start planning things and they come up, we're excited. But if you don't work at it, if you don't keep it hoed out, if you don't keep the weeds out, they can take over. I know it bothers you because a lot of you have gardens. Doesn't it bother you when you're driving around the county and you pass a field and there was somebody's garden, because you see the corn kind of sticking up just a little bit, but the weeds have taken over? And you're thinking, look at all the work they put in to produce that garden, and now they've just let it go. Well, that is a very true realization. In Christianity, we have to understand, as we plant, we do the best we can. Can you control the weeds? And the answer is no. You plant, but can somebody else also be planting in that same heart? They sure can. So we have to make sure that we do all that we can to try to continually emphasize the goodness of what we're offering and move the weeds aside if possible. Don't get frustrated. After all, the Bible tells us what? One man plants, one man does what? Waters, but then what? God gives the increase. Absolutely. So if we're doing this to the glory of God, and we need to be, then as we try to plant the seed, even though others are trying to plant the tares, don't sweat that too much. Just keep planting the seed and cultivating the seed, and hopefully the tares will fall by the wayside. Okay. 2 Corinthians chapter 2. 2 Corinthians chapter 2. And verse number 11. My fingers are not working so good tonight. Okay, here the apostle says, lest Satan should take advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We're not ignorant of what Satan does. We go through the scriptures and we begin to understand quite quickly how he operates. In Acts chapter 5, we have the story of Ananias and Sapphira. And the big question that was asked was, why has Satan filled your heart to do this thing? Satan had filled their heart to lie to the Holy Spirit. And they let him do it. And they lied to the Holy Spirit, and they suffered the consequences for it. So Satan likes to lie to people. He likes to fill their heart with evil. He likes to let them feel like this is what is best for me. If that be the case, if Satan can fill their heart with evil, can we fill their heart with righteousness? Absolutely. All we have to do is figure out the things that are good, things that will make them feel good, things that are righteous that they can do, and encourage that, and encourage that, and encourage that, and ultimately it gets to them and they begin to understand it better. So we've got to fill the heart with righteousness. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and in verse number 5, do not deprive one another except with consent for a time, that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, so that Satan does not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. You know, we have to do everything we can to control our environment and our actions. Even in marriage, this is what his main discussion was. Even in marriage, you have to maintain a relationship that even if you say, I need to be apart from you for a while to give myself to fasting and prayer, then you come back together again. You don't let that thing go on until all of the love light dies out. We've got to keep people away from evil. We've got to try to